Many people are saying to Israel, you can't beat Hamas. You've set this goal, and I'm sure maybe you discussed it with the Prime Minister today, you've set this goal of completely defeating Hamas, but you can't defeat Hamas because it's an ideology. What's your response to that?
Well, they often say it's an idea. That's another one, ideology or an idea. Well, there's several things about that. The first thing is, I've heard that said a lot in campaigns against terrorist groups and others. There's always the claim, for instance, that if you fight the terrorist group, you will create more terrorists, which is a logical cycle that does not work, because, of course, that means that you should simply never fight terrorism, because if you do, you'll create terrorists, which means you just sort of have to stand back and take it, which doesn't seem to me viable. The second thing about this is that it's just not true that you can't defeat a terrorist group. You can defeat the leaders, certainly. You can kill or capture the leaders. That's eminently possible. I think there's I talked about this with the Prime Minister earlier a bit. I think there is a complexity at the moment of having the mission of simultaneously destroying Hamas and also having to negotiate with Hamas. I think that is a very tricky juncture. But, I mean, lots of ideas have been destroyed. I mean, Nazism was destroyed. Communism, although it lingers again on American college campuses primarily, but it lingers, but it was pretty much destroyed in 1989, 1990. There are residue countries like North Korea still vaguely trying versions of it, but it was destroyed. And it was partly also, of course, destroyed on the battlefield of ideas, which is one of the reasons why it gives me great, some people say, well, there are so many lies in the world, so many liars, so many horrible things being said by horrible people, and how can you possibly intend to pierce through them? And I always say that history is just filled with people who destroyed bad ideas, and the way in which communism was brought down is a very good example. When Alexander Solzhenitsyn was writing, could he have imagined the impact it had? The vast crack on the Iron Curtain, the wall that was caused by his work. When Václav Havel was writing and working, he helped destroy this horrible idea. And communism was much, much more widespread than Hamas. So when people say it's not possible, I think they're not imaginative enough.